Hi everybody, welcome back. Nigel here with you again, and here we have now, which essentially is part 4, and this is going to be the final part of using the one-man army masks. So in this video we're going to be covering stencils, and I've got a little range for you. So to start with, anything you see which is British will be from the Hurricane Mark II-B, which is what I've used for all of this that I've done so far. So that'll be anything you see World War II British, that'll be from there. Okay, and then anything you see German is going to be from this set here. This is for the Zucchimura HO229 or HO229 it should be, 1/32 scale, and we're going to look at some stenciling on that. And we've got these fantastic little multicolored triangle fuel filler ports and everything, so we'll look at them and some other bits and pieces. I'd love to do the swastikas and stuff, but I don't. So but they are very, very nicely done. And then for our modern fans, we've got the F-35A Lightning, and here we've got we have Royal Australian Air Force, Italian Air Force, and 2 lots of the United States Air Force. And this is designed for the artillery kit, but I can't see why this wouldn't work on the trumpeter kit. So we're going to be having a play with those. So here's the sheets. You can see here, these are the sheets for the Hurricane. You can see we've got a lot of those missing, so we've only got a few stencils. There's not a hell of a lot, but we'll have a play with some of those, and we're going to look at how we paint them, how we position them, how we make sure they're square and everything, and how to weed them and use them and everything. Here we've got the German ones. Again, we're going to look at how to fit them, weed them, and all that sort of stuff, where you need to use transfer tape, where you don't. I'm not going to get into this numbers thing and everything. I've done that before, but basically, yeah, it's going to be nice. It's going to be good. So here we go. And then here finally we've got the F-35 set, and we've got lots of stencils. I'm going to do the nose steps and show you how we're going to do about the nose steps. We've got the warning seats there for ejection seats, and I think there's one for jet engines as well somewhere. Ejection seats, jet intake. There we go. So we've got ones we can play with there. And then we've got a few here we can show you some weeding on and see how they're going to come out. And just for that, I've done the back half of the wing in a dark grey. I know it's not correct. This is LP27 German grey, but it's just something that will show up nice, so we can do the white sort of low-vis markings for you. And I'll do the British stuff and the German stuff on this side where we've got the camouflage, so we can just dot it around all over the place. I'm also going to do, in the German one, there is a fuel filler circle thing here. I think it's a fuel filler, and they are a nightmare to get centered, so I've had a little bit of a think and a play, and I reckon I've come up with an idea for them. So we'll show you that as well, what Sven has started doing on the later sets, because the idea is you take this, you see this mask here, you've got this small disc in the center. The idea is you take that out, you put that over the hatch that you want to put your ring around, and you center it, and then you place the mask over that. Well, it's not very easy to center it, and it needs to be bigger. So what he started doing now is making these bigger on subsequent sets. I'm not sure if he's changed this set. As I say, this is the HO229, but he's making them bigger, because obviously a bigger circle in there is going to be easier to center than a little dot in the middle. So we'll look at that as well. So there we go. As I said in previous videos, this is a 1/32 scale Heinkel 111 wing. It is covered in British markings, and as far as I know, a Heinkel 111 was never captured by the British, or indeed used. The camouflage colours are incorrect. All of these colours are incorrect, but this is an exercise in different methods of using one-man army masks and how to achieve the great finishes you can get like this. And that's what it's about. It's nothing to do with accuracy, period, colours, or whatever. I mean, we're putting F-35 low-vis on the bottom of a Second World War wing, so on the wrong colour grey as well. So there you go. There can't be much more wrong with it, can there? It's just like a tutorial in how to use, or how I use these masks. And I haven't used these on a model yet, so I have to be honest, all of this is fairly new to me. But I'm just playing and practicing in front of you guys, and then you guys can pick up where I go wrong and what I do right. So we need to make a start. So let's have a look at the German one first, and I'm going to blow your minds first of all with this one here. This one here, you know, you've probably seen them on your models. If not, go and have a look at your German aircraft. You get the triangle. I can show you here if you can pick it up. It's not very easy to see. but you basically get a white triangle with a yellow triangle inside it and then black lettering, and it's basically, it denotes a fuel filler, and the lettering that's in the middle denotes the type of fuel or whatever that goes in there. It might be hydraulics as well, but you can have a look at those. So the first thing we've got to do is identify where it's going to go. So I'm going to put it on this hatch here. Okay, so what I want to do is make sure the triangle is kind of centered over that hatch. So here we're going to go again. We're going to go into this positioning using tape and measuring everything up, but it's good practice for you, and it's good for people to see how it's done. So I am going to use these 3 masks here because they're spares. Okay, and I can measure this and I can see that there is just under 6 millimeters tall, and that filler there is just under 6 millimeters, so that is perfect. So if I want this to remain square to these panel lines, so I have the triangle in the right plane, what I'm going to do is use the edge of my masking sheet as a square, line it up there to the panel line, and line it up on the bottom of that fuel filler, cap, flap, whatever it is. I'm not even sure if it's a fuel filler. And then we can lay our masking tape down there like so. Okay, so now we've got a piece of masking tape square to that panel line across the bottom of that panel. So we can now remove, what we're going to do, we're going to weed out this triangle here, this largest one, and weed that out, put that over there out of the way. And then I'm going to lift up the bottom left hand corner again. This is all becoming quite familiar now, I expect. And then I'm going to put that under there, just like so. I'm going to cut that off because we don't need all of that. Go away, you're not required. And then we're going to lift this up, grab our tweezers and place this on the model. Now if I've got my measurements right, this should end up in the center of that flap. Okay, I have a feeling I may have gone slightly too high. Oh, the other thing I forgot to do, sorry, schoolboy error, I didn't mark the center. So what we're going to do here is come along with a pencil and just mark the center of where that comes. Okay, so now we know the center of that is there, and we've got the tape there, so we can put this down and we can center that triangle over that line. Okay, now if I was doing this properly, I would use a much finer line and I would take a lot more care with positioning the mask. But now we can see we should have that roughly in the center of that panel. If we haven't, let's not worry about it. So we're going to remove this because we don't need it there anymore. And then what we're going to do is get our, here I am unprepared, we're going to get our frog tape. I'm going to tear off some pieces, 4 of those, and we can stick these down around that triangle. Okay, and the reason I use the frog tape is 1, it's cheaper, 2, it's wide, so we don't have to use lots of it. Okay, so there we go. So now we're ready to paint some white paint in there. So let's get that done, and then we'll do the yellow, and then we'll do the black, and when we've done the black we'll do some other markings on this wing. Alright, so as you can see, got the white paint and our airbrush mixed with X20A, and I'm just going to very, very gently build this up. You get the score, you've seen this time and time again now. In case you haven't seen the previous 3, I would suggest you go and watch. This will show you, you will know how I go about it. So there we go. Just basically very, very slowly building it up. This is Tamiya XF2 mixed with X20A. And we just want to go until we just get the coverage, and also we need to come in from the angles and spray into the edge of the tape, and that is because the tape is comparatively thick when you look at the stencil, so if you just spray straight down you might not get a sharp edge. There we are. Okay, and you can see I've used, I mean literally that was the tip of a brush painted it in the pot. It's literally nothing. So we'll let that dry. We need to let that dry pretty well, and then we'll do the yellow. Okay, so the next thing we have to do, now that's dry, is remove this tape. And this will become a bit of a familiar sight. Just going to remove this tape. There you go, it's left that in position. And we're going to leave that there. Then we're going to come along to the second one, the second mask in the queue, and we're going to remove that triangle from in there. Okay, and I'm going to lift this bottom left hand corner again. We can use that little piece of tape that didn't want to go away last time. Put that under there. Look at that, it's come out. It's a naughty piece of tape, that one. It doesn't want to play ball. Alright, so what we can do now is pick this one up in our tweezers. Put our masking sheet aside. Notice with Sven, he gives you this great big long mask. You've got plenty to hold without actually putting your fingers on the back. And what I've got to do now is line this up perfectly with the outline of the mask below. Okay, so I may have to do this off camera with a magnifier. I think that's pretty good. Obviously if this was a model, as I said before, I would be using a lot more care. And then what I'm going to do is with a piece of paper, I'm going to put the piece of paper over the top. And then I've got the rubber on the end of this pencil. I'm just going to rub it to push that mask because it's got to go down in. Okay, so now what we've done, we've masked off the white, so when we spray the yellow we will end up with a band, a white band around the mask, which is what we want. So this was the Luftwaffe's, or maybe standard German code for fuel, as far as I know. So we've got that on there now. It's all pushed down in, so we can now very gently, let's get rid of that, very gently spray in some yellow, just to get a yellow colour in there. It doesn't need to be built up and perfect, we just got to get a yellow colour into there. And as I say, keep it dry, don't let it get wet. Remember, it'll easily creep under that mask. So there we go, that's our yellow done. Okay, that's it, done. Alright, so repeating ourselves again, we're going to remove this outer protective tape from the area. Just like so. Okay. And then this is something I choose to do, you don't have to. I am going to remove this upper mask so we can check before we do the lettering that we have a nice white border. And I have got that slightly misaligned. I don't know if you can see that, but I have got it slightly misaligned. So that's my fault, but we'll see how it looks when it all comes out. Okay, now, I mean, maybe they were like that in real life. They were probably just roughly painted on with stencils, just like we're doing here. So now we need to do the black bit. So once again, I'm going to lift the left hand lower corner. I'm going to put this piece of masking tape under here. Just makes it easier to remove. Take away that bit there. Okay, and then I'm going to lift this up. And I'm going to place this on here. Now, as I say, accuracy is not the thing here because it's very important to be accurate, but the trouble is I'm as blind as a bat and I want to do this on camera for you to see. And if I don't do this on camera for you to see, you won't see it because I'll be doing it on a magnifier. But you can see there we go. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is with a cotton bud, I'm just going to push down on that mask in the middle to make sure it's gone down and sealed nicely. Okay, and then once again will cover around the outside. Now you're probably sat there thinking, what a load of faff, bloody hell. Wait till you see the finished result. And remember, yes, this is a load of faff because this is a 3-colour stencil. Most stencils are 1 colour, so it's a case of putting the mask down. Job done. So I've got the black paint mixed up, and I've got this is XF1 mixed up with X20A. If I was doing this on a model properly, I probably wouldn't use XF1. I'd probably use rubber black or even a dark grey. And this is the beauty of using one-man army masks. You choose the colour, not the decor manufacturer. So you can choose it, you can fade it, you can have it as bright or as dark as you want. So here I'm just going to do a little test patch there. I'm just going to literally, very lightly build this up, and I'm going to come in all the way around from 360 degrees and spray into that area. Because it's such a tiny, what we're actually painting here, where's my stand gone, there it is. What we're actually painting here is this tiny little symbol. You can see I'm pointing out there in front of my finger, that's what we're painting, it's tiny. So the masking tape is going to really struggle to get through it. I'm just wondering, should I have weeded it? It's looking like I probably should have weeded it. So I think I'm going to stop the tape here and start again. So, okay, what I see with my naked eye is like a block that comes out, but it's actually words. So I can't see it as words because it's German, and I don't do German. So as I say, I'm going to lay this down, all the angles. There we go. Right, that's that done. So that is our fuel filler mask complete. Lots of work. I've got it misaligned. I've better got it out of position on the circle. But hey ho, the object of the exercise is to show you how these things work and the kind of effect you can get. So here's your chance to go and do it better. And now we're going to remove both of these masks together. Move that from there. And there we go. Right. And as you can see, I mean, it's dead smooth. I do have the yellow misaligned on the white, which is a big shame. That is not a fault of the mask, that's the fault of me. I should have done it under a magnifier. So you can see the black lettering is centered in the white, but the yellow is sort of up. We've got it pretty much in the middle of that fuel filler, or that cap. I don't know if you can see that, you can make it out. You can hardly read the words, but it's absolutely gorgeous, and there's no steps there. It's beautiful. Okay, so there you go. Right, what we're going to do next. Okay, so I want to show you something now which is very clever and very well thought out by Sven. You can see on here we have number 31, next to it we have an X, so we use that one. It says oil 9 gallons, airspace 1.5 gallons, and next to it there's a circle. Okay, so I'm assuming that that circle is designed to be where the cap is. So you're going to put that next to the cap, and that's the position of the cap. So what I'm going to do is remove this circle from the masking sheet, and I'm going to place it in the center of this cap here. I'm just going to very gently put it down, if it will let me. It doesn't want to go down. Come on. You know you want to. And then I'm going to use my knife to position it in the center by eye. And this time I'm going to look under the magnifier because I don't want to mess it all up again. There we go. So that is, I would say, roughly as good as it needs to be on a World War II aircraft. That tape disc is in the center. Now I've put this piece of tape across here. I didn't want to bore you with it, so I've done it off camera. I just wanted a line that was perpendicular to the panel line, so we get the stencil nice and straight. So what I'm going to do now, have a look at this. There's no weeding to do. It's all, you can sort of see through it. Okay, so that's okay. So we're going to lift up the bottom left hand corner, grab a piece of tape, put the piece of tape in underneath, just like so. Very repetitive this, isn't it? I'm going to pick that up, and we are going to place it on the model. No, we're not. We're going to drop it on the bench. far better idea, isn't it? Let's drop it on the bench because that's where you want it. Clumsy oaf. Right. So what I'm going to do now is place this mask over that circle and have the bottom edge parallel with that piece of tape. Okay, there we go. That's over the circle. And the bottom edge is pretty much parallel with that piece of tape. Yeah. So we can rub that down. Again, we grab a piece of paper and rub it down. Remember, don't ever rub it with your finger, because what you're going to do is just rip the mask up. Put that down over there. Once again, we're going to put this on here. Okay, we're going to put this on here to mask the top edge. Then we're going to mask the sides. Make sure you cover up that X, which is down in there. And then we're going to make sure we cover up that fuel filler, because we don't want a black line around the fuel filler. So there we go, that's that down. Right, so now we can take our black paint once again that I mixed up before for doing the fuel filler, and we are going to spray. Again, very, very lightly, making sure we go out to all the corners. It's very easy when you do this to miss out the corners, and you end up with stencils that have faded letters towards the ends and the beginning of the sentence. Come in, spraying all the angles. This is very important you do the angles, otherwise you will end up with an odd looking mask and an odd looking stencil. Okay, so that's that one done. Put my airbrush back. Literally, like you see, I haven't turned the camera off. There's no waiting for things to dry. Get this tape up. And then using my lower left hand corner, very gently pick this one up. Just like so. Put this down here because that's rubbish now. Pick up this circle from the middle of that cap. Put that down on there. And there we go. You can see there is your stencil. You go and get me a decal decal, whatever, that is as fine as that, where you could choose the colour and it looks that good. It ain't gonna happen. I mean, there is obviously there's no carrier film because I didn't put one on there. But you can see that is on there, and you can wear that. You can have it in green. You can have it in pink with a purple stripe going through it if you want it. You can do whatever you want. Look at that! Isn't that lovely? Right. So let's have a look at this now. What I want to do is show you. We're going to imagine that this is the upper wing of the other side. Okay, so this is obviously the starboard wing, and this is going to be the port upper wing. And what I'm going to show you is, like they say in the general instructions, we're going to put something down here, and we're going to put it on the other wing in exactly the same position. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece of this tape. I think the first thing I need to do is decide. Let's get rid of that. The first thing we need to do is decide what we're going to actually put here. So let's have a look on here. Okay, so let's put this one here, 32. Yeah, let's put that one there on the corner. In fact, no, let's put that one there, here on the wing. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly roughly measure this. The pattern is roughly 11 millimeters long, and the block is about 8 millimeters high. So it's going to fit in there, lovely. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this piece of tape. So we know that the block is 8 millimeters high, so I'm going to come up so it's well into that sky coloured area, and I'm going to put the tape here like this. So I want it at that angle. I haven't measured anything, I've done nothing. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take a fine pen, and I'm going to make a mark there. I'm going to make a mark there. I'm going to make a mark there, and a mark there, and also here and here. So I've now got marks in all directions, and that's what we need. Okay, now I'm going to take my stencil, I'm going to once again lift up the lower left hand corner. I'm going to put a little piece of tape under it, just like so, and then I'm going to lift up my stencil and I'm going to position it where I want it to be, and I want it to be there. Okay, right, and now I'm going to draw a line there. Okay, so I've got that line drawn there, and that line is at the top of the diagonal flash between the numbers, so that's going to be there. Okay, so I've made a little black dot on there that coincides with that one there. So what we're going to do now is mask around this and paint our stencil black. Alright, so we're good to go. So get our black paint and we're going to spray our stencil black. Again, we're going to make sure we come in from all the angles. I know something I didn't do on this one. I forgot, didn't I? I forgot to push it down. So I'm going to get my piece of paper. There we go. So we may have a bit of a soft edge there on one bit, but we'll see. So just coming in from all the angles, getting the paint down. The paint is mixed very, very thin. It's about 70% thinners, and I'm spraying it very, very lightly to keep it dry. You can see it's not shining at all. We're getting no shininess whatsoever. I don't want any wet paint. I want a puddle. It needs to be nice and dry. Okay, so there we go. Right. So this is the first time I've done this. I know what the theory is because I show you all the time when I show you the sets, when I do the reviews. This is the first time I've actually done this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of tape, well, in fact what we'll do is remove our mask and see how our stencil looks. Right, one little problem there. Oh no, it's not a problem. I think, yes, I thought the centre of that zero, that O, zero, had come out before I took the mask off, but it hasn't. So what I need to do now is just come in with a sharp knife and just touch that and take away. You can see now we've got the O. The mask stayed on the model, not on the back masking sheet. Look at that. Look how fine that is. That is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, now, as I say, the theory I understand, the actual practice I don't. I'm going to cut this along here so I don't have that piece overhanging. As is bloody typical, the tape won't cut. There we go. Right, so I'm going to take this piece of tape off and I'm going to put it on the other side. And remember, we're not doing it on the other side of the wing. This is the other wing. Okay, so I'm just hoping the lines are all the same on both sides. So this is the wing, this is the upper wing, and that is the lower wing. So if the panel lines don't line up, we'll have to imagine they do. So what I'm going to do now is remove this tape. Oh, come on. Right, I'm going to remove this tape, and I'm going to grab a piece of 6mm Tamiya tape. I'm going to lay this down on the bench. I'm going to put my piece of Tamiya tape over the top, like that. And now, when I come along, I didn't mask that top edge. You see, that's another schoolboy error. I've got a black line going across the top of there now. I should have masked across the top edge. We'll do it on this side. So now, I can take this tape. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm going to line these lines up. So I'm lining that panel line up there with that one there. This one here with that one there. This one with that one with that one, that one with that one. Okay, so you can see that basically it's sticky side up. That's how it was on the other side. I've turned it over. That's how it was there, all lined up with those panel lines. Okay, I've turned it over, turned it sticky side up. Imagine now this is the other side of the aircraft. This isn't the other side of the way. You could do it this way, but if you want it the same on the other side of the aircraft, we can now line that one up with that panel line there, that panel line there, and there we go. Okay, so you can see now that we've got that panel line there lined up, that one there lined up and everything. The only trouble is here, because I didn't put masking tape across the top, I can't see the black line. So what I'm going to have to do is put this down here and make a black line there. I'll make a line there, and then when I turn it over, I'll make another black line. So if I'd have done this properly, we wouldn't have this problem. I wish I'd done it right in the first place. But so I've got a black line now there for the centre. So we're lining all these lines up and sticking this down. So as you can see, we've got that line in there, that line in there, that line there, that line there, that line there. Okay, so now when we put this mask on, we will have our mask in exactly the same position. So we're going to lift this bottom left hand corner up, put a piece of tape under it. And the reason we do that is so we don't scratch the paint when we come along to do the removing the mask. So I've got that dot on there. I'm going to line that dot up with that one on there, and I'm going to put this down, butt it up to that piece of tape like so. Okay, there we go, that's down. So now what I can do is remove this, and I can use this as a mask. There we go, put that down over the top of there. Get this out of the way. Put one across the bottom of there. I know it looks like I'm rushing, guys, I'm not. It's just that I'm aware that you have been watching this time and time again, and you're probably sick to the back teeth of it, but it don't cost you anything, does it? And it's better than watching something like GB News with 25 minutes of bloody crap every hour. Bloody weather report repeated every 20 minutes. News reports repeated every half an hour. Bloody garbage. Right, so we'll come in here and spray this one. Going in from all the angles. Once again. Making sure we go out to all the edges. Once again. As you see, I've got the paint a bit wet there, so we may pay for that. Spraying it nice and gently. Now we can take this tape off of here. You can see I use this time and time and time again. You don't have to throw it away. That can come off of there. Get our tweezers underneath. Lift this one off. And that time the centre of the zero came out. So you can see now we don't have that black line across the top, but you can see we have them in exactly the same position on both sides. See how that four numeral number crosses that panel line there. It crosses that panel line there. You can see they're the same. So there you go. Right, so that's how you do that bit. So what we're going to look at next, let's have a look at doing some of the other stuff along here. Okay, not strictly a stencil, but it kind of is. I want to show you this one here. You've got Fort St. George, Madras Presidency. You can see that there. Now, as you saw with the stencils, I just basically ripped the top off and put them down. Now this one here, you've got the O is like in the center, you've got two O's there, you've got the center of a D, you've got the center of the R, you've got the center of the A. So what we're going to do here, we're going to actually weed this on the backing paper, put down a transfer tape and put it down. What I'm going to do is put it on here so you can see it. because it's, so I may even do it on here. No, I'll do it on here and then you can see it. And then what we're going to do is actually spray this in black, and I'll show you just how good it looks, and it will show you just how good you can get these without using decals. Now, as I say, I'm blind as a bat, so I'm going to have to do this under a magnifier. I'm not going to be able to weed this. But basically with weeding, what we're going to do is come along, like with this T, we're going to pick out the T, like so. I thought I had it, then I didn't. I had a sliver of tape stuck to the knife. I don't want to mess it up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do it under a magnifier, and I'm going to pick out those letters, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks when that's done. Okay, so I've weeded, where are we? I've weeded that one, Fort St. George, Madras Presidency. Now, there is a point where these masks become very, very difficult to use, especially for older people like me that your eyesight's going. And I have really struggled to weed this one, pulling out the centres of the A's, pulling out the centre of the D's, very easy indeed. I went to my Anise tweezers. These are the Anise Super Precision tweezers from anise.io. There you go there. And these things are made for weeding. They've got an extremely sharp point on them, but even then, very, very difficult. So what I've also done is weeded this one here, which is also very tricky, but it's a lot bigger than that one. So we'll see how that one comes out. I think I've got a couple of A's missing, and I've also got a D out of place, I think. I think I've damaged the D between the I and the D in Presidency. So we've got these here now, and we're going to have to make up transfer tape. So we have here, this one is 4mm wide, and this one is 5mm wide. So what we're going to do is take our Infini cutting mat. We will get a piece of 18mm masking tape. We use the Tamiya tape for this because it needs to be nice and strong. And we're going to put this down here. So we want, where's our knife gone? We want one piece. We'll just cut an edge to get a straight datum edge. And then that then is scrap. So we'll one piece at 4mm wide. Okay, and I want it one piece at 5mm wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And then the length of this one is, so I measure this one, that is, let's call it 35mm. So we'll cut the end off here. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So there's our piece of transfer tape for that one, and this one is 20mm. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So we'll cut that one there. Right, so now we can take this transfer tape off of here. And remember, you're only going to get one go at this. You ain't going to be able to lift this transfer tape off of there once it's down. So we've got to be very, very careful. And what I'm going to do is start. I'm going to start at this end, because if I start at that end, I might get it short or long. So I'm going to put it down here, and I'm going to try and get it as square as I can. And then I'm going to pull it down in between the lines, and there we go. That's gone really, really well, especially for the camera being on. It is slightly off there on that corner, but we could just lift that up. Right, and then this one here, we'll do the same again, and we'll get the knife under it, lift it up. Wrong tweezers, knife. Get this one under here, and we will again start at this end. Watch me mess this up now, I'm bound to. And we will put this down into that corner there, and just lay that down like so. And we've gone just over onto the one above, so we might have some problems getting it off. We shall see. Right, these are the most difficult you're ever going to do. Okay, so bear that in mind. Right, so we're going to lift this bottom left hand corner up, and the same on this one. I'm going to get a couple of little bits of tape. It's much better with the knife. couple of bits of tape under there, sticky side up. There we go. Another one here, under there, sticky side up. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to put these on here. Is that one going to fit? That is, how long is the lettering? About 25mm. Yeah, easy. Right, okay, so we're going to put this one on the bottom. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to have our, we can see the lettering through there. And we can line the bottom of the box up with the edge of the tape. Imagine we've got a piece of tape there or something. So that's gone down beautifully. Give that a good rub down. Now, with this one here, we'll put this one directly above it and we'll have the lettering ending at the same point. There we go. That's gone down, button up to that one. We give that a good rub down. Now hopefully when we lift this transfer tape up, it won't take anything with it. Let's see. I think it's going to probably be a right pain in the buttocks. So we're going to slowly peel it back. I can see that little line between the two eyes has stayed there. The centre of the A has stayed there. Centre of the A has stayed there. Centre of the A has stayed there. Brilliant. That's gone really well. Okay, so that's that one done. I bet this one doesn't go as well. So we'll lift this up on the corner. I won't even be able to see if this one lifts anything up, I've got to be honest, guys. In fact, what we're going to do is give it a proper good rub down. Because remember, the mask sticking to the paint has a stronger bond than the mask sticking to the transfer tape. I did notice it started to lift there, I think. Yep, so what I'm going to do now is coming from the other end. It doesn't want to let go. So we're coming from the other end on here. It looks like it's lifting something out. Here we go. We won't really know how good it is until we unmask it. But basically I'm going to cut a narrow strip of tape here, maybe a slightly narrower strip, and that is going to go between the two. Oh, come on, let go. So that's going to go down between the two like so. And then we can use some of our cheap tape to mask up the rest, like that, like that, that, and that. Right, so let's see how this looks after we've painted it. Let's get some paint down on here. Do a little test first. Again, I'm going to come in from all the angles. We know it's all pushed down nicely. As I said, I think this Fort St. George is getting close to the point where it's becoming, you know, a bit silly, if you like. Maybe if you've got like a 5x magnifier you can wear, you'll be able to see what you're doing, but I certainly was lost with that. That tape looks like it's lifted, but it hasn't. So again, coming in from all the angles, making sure we get all the lettering covered, going out to the corners, just like so. and I'm expecting this to not look very good, and it's not a fault of the masks, it's the fault of a silly old blind bugger doing it. You know, for the finer stuff like this, you might want to use your decals. But then you might not. You might get absolutely fine. Maybe it's just because I'm struggling with it. But there does reach a point. It's like with the Hellcat, with the Rising Sun and the, you know, the hit list going on the side of the aircraft. Sven said it was just impossible. It was too fine. So I think there reaches a point where, you know, the interface between laser cutting paper, getting the paper off the backing sheet and onto your model is just, you know, I think it reaches a point where it's nigh on impossible. So let's see how this looks. Right, so we're going to get this off of here. And obviously we're going to get bits of letters staying in between, which we're going to have to pick out afterwards. We have the same with this one. But looking at this now, I'm thinking, wow, it is worth the effort. Just going to try and pick this up without damaging the paintwork. There's that bit there. This is the problem, you get these little tiny bits of tape, they stick to your tweezers and they will not let go. There's going to be a piece in between here. As you can see, these tweezers are just amazing for doing this. We've got the centre of the O. Get off tape. That was weird, it was like there was two on there. There we go. Actually, you can just wonder if you can just rub it off. That's going to scratch the paint if I use metal, isn't it? That seems to be the way to do it. Get a pointed tool under them and just rub them off. There we go. So this may well have been here. This may well have been issues with the weeding. I'm not sure, but just look at my magnifier. I've scratched it all. You can see there, basically what I've done, I've scratched it with the tweezers. But if you just get in there and just lift them with a magnifier and just rub them, you can see, I mean, the presidency is a bit messed up there at the bottom where I've scratched it. But you can see here the Samasthans. That is just stunning, isn't it? It's absolutely gorgeous. Right, so there we go. Now, so we've done that. We've done that. We've done this. What I'm going to do now is a circle using one of the German decals, and then we're going to move over the side and start doing some high-vis stuff. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, so you can see on this German sheet we have these circles, and these go around round panels like you've got these round panels on here. So what I'm going to do is use one of these here, perhaps use that one there. And the way Sven has designed this is so that what you have is a circle in the centre that you pick out. And I explained this just now, didn't I? So that circle is going to come out of there, and that's going to go into the middle of that panel. Okay, I should have picked it out with a knife, it makes it much easier. Now, getting this in the centre, because it's so small, is fairly difficult. What I've noticed, we've got equally spaced bolts around there, or rivets or whatever, so we should be able to get it if we look at it like that, so we put the rule across the rivets, we should be able to see that it's lined up in the center. So I'm going to do this under a magnifier and then I'll come back and we'll see how it looks. Alright, so I've got that piece of tape down there now. Okay, you can see it's right in the center of that panel. I think it's as good as I can get it in the center. So what I'm going to do is gently lift this off. I'm going to put a piece under the corner. I'm going to put a piece of tape under this corner here. And then get that under there, and hopefully this will lift off. And maybe I think I will put a piece of transfer tape on it. So I'm just going to put a piece of 6mm Tamiya tape over the design area. That should just help to keep it all together. The trouble is with that now, I can't bloody see the hole in the centre, can I? So that's not very good. So what we'll do, we'll put a piece here. We'll put a piece here on the side, and that should be enough to hold it all together. Okay, it's just enough to stop the centre ripping out really. So we can gently pick this up now. And then what we've got to do is lay this, because it's circular, it doesn't need to be square or anything to any panel lines. What we're going to do is lay this down, although we do want to get the pattern right, don't we? So I think we'll have it kind of square. And I'm going to lay this down over that centre dot. There you go, that's down like that now. So it's slightly off that way, never mind. Okay, so rub that down good and properly. We'll remove our transfer tape, like so, which I'm not sure we needed or not. Okay, I'm going to get a small piece of masking tape to mask the centre. That's not big enough, sod's law. Piece of masking tape just to mask the centre so we don't end up with a red ring in the middle. And then we can use our big bits to go around the outside. Just like so. Make sure we cover up the hole where the number of the mask is. Just like so. Grab my piece of paper, give it a good old rub. And there we are. And then get the masking sheet out of the way. Grab some red paint. Just check our flow. Yep, lovely. And we'll paint this and make sure we come in from all the angles. Just like so. There we are. Another way you could do this is measure the actual disc in the square block or the rectangular block and mark out the rectangular block central to the circle and do it that way. But I think this way is fine. As I say, if we had a larger circle in the centre, I think it would make life a lot easier. We're going to make sure we get in all the angles like this. Make sure we get in and get every single nook and cranny painted so we get nice sharp red lines. I think that should be enough. So we can take that one off there. Take that one off of there and then come under this corner. Rid of that piece of tape and just gently lift this off, and there we go. That's worked out really well. We'll get that disc off the middle, and that is all down to the skill of you doing it by eye. And you can see that red ring now around that panel, and that's come out really nice. So that's coming next. Okay, so far what we've done here is all this World War II stuff, all this old stuff and that. It's all very nice indeed. So let's have a look at something a bit more modern. So this is the F-35A set for the Artillery kit, and it's very nice. and it's a bit kind of different than all the other sets because the F-35, as you know, is covered in all this RAM tape and there's panel lines and everything everywhere. So what Sven has done, it's like you look at this one here, 41, okay, this mask here, number 41. It goes into that panel, and what he's done, he's made the mask so it actually fits in that panel, so you know that it's in the right place. And the same here, which one was it, number 2? Number 2 here, you've got a spare there as well, and that fits within the panel. And basically you're going to weed out those little bits of symbols and then just actually paint it. Now I believe pretty much all of this is white, so I've got some white paint in the airbrush, and what we're going to do here is just use white. We're not going to bother with any other colours. There's a couple of different colours here and everything, but it's pointless doing any of this because we don't have the model. I don't have this kit in any shape or form, but we'll have a little play with some of the stencils and I'll just show you basically how they work. So and we'll finish off with an ejection seat one. So first of all, I want to look at these no steps. So we would have sort of no step going along here, say along the panel line, telling us not to stand on this leading edge of the wing. F-35 on an F-111, on a Hanker 111, eh? Great. So what I'm going to do is get a piece of tape and put it down here as my guide. Okay, now I want these no steps to be inside the panel line. I want them to be reading inwards, so they're going to be kind of upside down, so when you're actually standing on the wing here you're going to read no step. So I want them to be just inside the panel line. So what I'm going to do is put this tape like this and have it parallel. In fact, I'm going to put this tape actually on the forward panel line. Okay, and there we are. So that's that. Now I want to get some down here. Let's say I want, I don't know, 4. Is it going to be possible to do 4? I'm not sure. So I'm going to get a sharper pencil here because I'm kind of fed up with using that great blunt thing. So looking along here, we have it's 110 millimeters. So I do one at 10, one at 40, one at 70, one at 100. Yeah, that's good. Right. So what we'll do here, we'll mark it on this side. So we'll have one at 10, one at 40, one at 70, and one at, without moving it. You can't even see those, can you? Bloody joke. Let's try this super fine pen. Let's see if this is going to write anything. Nope, that's absolutely dried out because the lid wasn't on properly. Mr. Prepared as usual. Here we go, here's a fine one. Let's see if this will actually make a mark for us. There we go. 10, 40, 70 and 100. So we've got one every 30 millimeters with a 10mm gap at the ends. And then what we're going to do here is come along and we're going to make a mark. They're going to be going up top towards the tape. So what we're going to do here is make a mark between the no and the step. Okay, so we're going to line those marks up. It was 4, wasn't it? Yeah, so we're going to do 4. So we're going to make a mark between the no and the step so that we got them all in the same position space-wise. Right, so we don't need to do any weeding or anything. What I am going to do is get some little bits of tape to put under the corners. So I'm going to lift up the inner left hand corner, or the lower left hand corner should I say, because it's going to make them easier to remove, as you've heard me say a million times before. But you've got to remember, not everybody has watched all these videos, and this tape hasn't cut properly, which is quite often what happens with Tamiya tape. You think you've cut it and you haven't. Let's see if we can get a smaller piece. There we go. Right, so that's going to slide under there, like so. That's going to slide under there, like so. This is why Sven gives you this big piece left out on the left. That's no good. It's a tiny little sliver. That's why he gives you this big piece on the left hand side. It gives you room to get this bit of tape under. That's way too big, but never mind. Right, so there we go. So that's that down. So we could get under these now and lift them off. And I'm going to turn this over because I want the no step to read that way, so when you're standing on the wing you read no step. I've seen people make that mistake. They put them on the wrong way around. So we're going to take this now, and we're going to place this. We've got two because we've got such a huge piece of tape under there for the left hand corner. And what we're going to do, we're going to lay this on here in line with and butt it up against that piece of tape I've put down with the marks. Okay, and then this one here. Oh dear, I've just realised something. We have an O in the middle of the no, so we need to use transfer tape. Now this one's come off okay, but I'm not going to chance it. So sorry guys, I've wasted your time there. We'll scrap those. Okay, so I messed up. Didn't realise I had to use transfer tape because there is an O, there's a circle in the centre of the O and there's a circle in the centre of the P, and they're not stencil like, so we need to make sure that we use transfer tape or they don't come away. So I've got some transfer tape down here. It's Tamiya tape. I've cut it 2mm wide by 8mm long, so we can just place this on here. I'm going to start at this end. So just place that on there. As long as it covers the lettering, it's only the O and the P we're really worried about, so it's not sort of as critical as some others. Place that on there and push it down, and then do the same here. Make sure we don't overlap anything, and then the same here. There we go. That's a bit on the piss, that one, but there we go. And then I'm just going to get my tweezers and just rub over them to make sure they've gone down good. In fact, it'd be better with a piece of paper. I should really get a new piece of paper, shouldn't I? And just rub over them. Saves you the risk of ripping anything. Right, so now I forgot to put the bloody marks on them. Oh dear, dear, dear. So we could look at the ones below and we can see that there, 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 there. So on the previous ones I put the marks on and forgot the transfer tape, and on this one I did vice versa. It's I'm tired. So right, that's going to go on like that. So what we're going to do is put this on this wing, and we're going to have it so the lines line up and it's butted up against that masking tape and parallel to it. Okay, so there we go. So that's that one down, and then this one is going to go there like so, and then this one is going to go, come back, that one's going to go there like that, and then this one is going to go here like so. Okay, so there we go. So we've got all our spacings now. So what I'm going to do is take this tape away, because I don't want to get in the way of our masking. So we can put that over there. In fact, we might even use it for our masking. Right, we can't use it for masking, it's not big enough. So now we've got to take the transfer tape off. So we're going to give these a good rub down without scratching the surrounding paint. And then we'll get our fine pointed knife under there, pull the tape back, making sure that nothing comes away with the transfer tape, so that's good. Do the same here. Just like so, same here. And the same here. This one will start from this end. Just pick it up. Right. It's very important to pick them up slowly in case you start to lift underneath and you can just lay it back down. If you just rip it off, you've got no chance. And now we'll have no step. We'll have 4 of them equispaced and all in a line. So that's part of what they show you in the general instructions. So what we can do here now is get our masks on and just mask here and make sure that we don't have any exposed grey paint. Do the same down here. Make sure we don't have any exposed grey paint. Oops. Make sure we're not covering the a no step stencil at all, and then a bit of tape on the end. Is that going to be wide enough? Look at that, I didn't actually work that out. That's worked out lovely. It's perfect width. Another piece in there, just like so. Make sure it's not touching the end of it, edge of any letters. And then this one here, just like so, in there. Again, make sure it's not touching any letters. So there we are, right. So we can paint them white. And I just happen to have some white paint in the airbrush. So again, we can paint these, coming in on all the angles. And everything here is going to be done in white. Oops, I haven't masked the end. Silly boy. Just get that on there. Right. So again, all the angles. And again, the beauty of this is with these low-vis markings, you might want to choose a different colour. The decors you've got in your kit might be very, very vivid and too bright. You might want to tone it back a bit with a very, very light grey or something. So that's the other beauty of these masks. So we can unmask these now. Notice again, I'm not waiting for any paint to dry, it doesn't matter. We can remove them, remove this. Sven, it's today is Tuesday the 19th of September 2023. Sven has emailed me today. He's only just seen the first video I made, which as of today is the only one that's out there. And he did ask me to say to cover that you should always remove the mask slowly. I think I've covered that anyway. But always remove the mask slowly, because you do run the chance of ripping it off, or if you get a problem. And also you can get apparently residue left on. I guess if it's been on the model for a couple of days, you can get residue left behind. So you need to be wary of that. So there we go. So here we have our tiny little no steps. That's weird. The centre of the P is coming out, but the centre of the O isn't. That one's come out, look. So yeah, my advice is use transfer tape just to be on the safe side, because if you don't, as I had when I first messed up, the centres of the O's didn't come out, and none of these have come. Well, one's come out, but they stayed on the backing paper. So there's that one. There's that one, and there's that one. Come on. I think you'll agree they are absolutely gorgeous. They're really fine, and obviously no carrier film because there is none. There we go. So that's that. So what are we going to do next? Let's have a look at this one here. I've already put a bit of tape under that one. So this one here, this is Rescue. So let's weed this one out. So we're going to weed out the actual arrow itself, put that down there, and then we're going to weed out. I'm going to get my tweezers for this. In fact, I'm going to do this offline under the magnifier because I don't want to mess this up again like I did with those. This one here, I messed it up by trying to do it in front of you and then had a problem. So I'm going to do this under the magnifier, and then I'll cut a piece of transfer tape, stick it over the top, get it on the model, and then I'll come back. Okay, so we've got a couple down here with the transfer tape on this. So I'll give them a good rub and everything. So we're going to come in with our tweezers now, get underneath the transfer tape, and just gently, very gently peel it back, make sure it doesn't take anything with it. Going very slow, and then if I see it start to lift something, I can push it back down and try again. If that doesn't work, it can come in from the other side. So there we go, that's all stayed down beautifully. So there's our transfer tape off of that one. And this one here, I've done this one because I know that we have, I should have weeded it before I started actually, but I know that we have some very, very patriotic Aussies looking on. So that's that one, and I'm going to remove this ring very slowly, sort of always pull it to the centre. Okay, so that's that one done. And then here, as I say, I should have weeded this before I took it off the paper. What it is, guys, I'm tired and I'm not thinking straight. So excuse me for making silly little mistakes. There we go. Now I'm going to put a piece of paper over there and give that a good rub. And same with that one. Okay, so now we've got a good mask going on there. So we're going to paint these two. So I'll come back after I've painted them. Just want to point out to you guys, with these tiny little letters down here, it is absolutely imperative that you get the angles and everything done. And with that kangaroo, with its tiny little front leg and its tiny little tail, you know, it's imperative that you come in on the angles, otherwise you won't get it filled in. The tail will just stop and it will be like a bit of faded, spattered line. So here we go. So let's get this unmasked and see how it all looks. Okay, so there's the main tape off. And here is our moment of truth. Get underneath this corner. Pull this away. There we go. And then I'm going to get my little anise tweezers, get underneath the back of that, lift it up. You can see doing this without scratching any paint at all, and removing it very, very slowly. I got the centre of that R has stayed in, so we're going to come in here and just literally touch it. It shouldn't need much to move. There we go. So that's that one. I'll show you that one in a second. And then this one here, the bottom left corner, we can lift up the outside. You can see just how sharp these lines are. And then I'll come in here, lift that up, get these tweezers and basically unpeel the surround around the kangaroo. What do you think of that? Isn't that gorgeous? Of course then, if you want to, 1500 grit sanding sponge, just to take the edge off, just a couple of little swipes, and it just takes the edge off and makes it pretty much flat. But I mean, you can read that on there as well as I can. It's absolutely bloody awesome. These things are amazing. They're really, really good. So, right, what we're going to do finally, we're going to do, just to close this off, we're going to do a couple of these. So we're going to do ejection seat and jet intake. Okay? So I'm just going to show you, there's a little bit of a anomaly to do in these. So first of all, we obviously need to decide where they're going to go. We need to get the masking tape off our fingers. So what I'll do is I'll just put one here and one here, rather than waste any time with positioning and stuff like that. So what we're going to do, we're going to take away the center. So I've got one here I'm going to take away the centre, and with this one he's actually cut quite deep, so the paper is coming away as well, as you can see. So we need a tiny little bit of masking tape to put under the bottom left corner, so I'm just going to cut a piece off of here. Let's cut some little squares, and just get a little square. Actually a knife is better. Get it under the knife, and then you can turn it over and you can push it under the mask, just like so. Or you can actually take it off with your finger. I didn't lift the mask first, that was what I did wrong there. How many mistakes can you make in one video? God. Okay, so put that down there. There we go, that's underneath, as near as damn it. Okay, and then we've got another one here which is jet exhaust. In fact, that one's jet exhaust. And then these are ejection seats. So this one here, they're probably the same size anyway. So we'll get our piece of tape, put it under that bottom left corner. There we go. And we're going to take out this central triangle. In fact, we can stick that down there and keep it for safekeeping. Okay, we don't need any transfer tape on these or anything. So what we can do now is lift this up. And I'll tell you what we will do. We'll put up this piece of tape down. We'll put this long piece of tape down just to make sure we get them in line, so they're all in line and looking good. So we'll get this and we'll put this down so it's kind of parallel with the trailing edge, maybe up a little bit on this end. There we go. So we can put one there and one there. Right, so we'll lift this one off. Okay, as you can see it's taken the one next to it. And then what we're going to do is turn our tweezers over so we're on the top edge. And I'm going to put one here. So we'll butt that into there. Sorry, I'm probably off camera. Put that into there on the tape and on the panel line. Just push that down. There we go. And then, so that's jet exhaust, and then the ejection seat. Okay, we'll turn our tweezers over so we're on the top. And then that one can go there into that corner. So we'll push that one into the tape. Just like so. And then we get our piece of paper. Rub it down. Take that tape away. And mask around. So I'll get these painted. Again, I keep repeating myself, you don't need to see it a million times. Make sure you get all the angles, make sure you spray in from all the different angles, and you'll be guaranteed to get your nice sharp crisp lettering like that. If you don't do that, then it won't work. And also make sure you remember when you've got these numbers here on the bottom left hand corner of the mask, make sure you actually cover them up. Now that is going to be too wide for that, so I'm going to get this, I'm going to cut this down, cut that like that, and then we'll get the tweezers under it, and that should be good for our mask between the two. Yes, it is. There we are. So that's good to go. So we can get the white paint down, and then I'll see you back in a second. Okay, so you can see that's all painted white now, and it's had a few minutes to dry, so it's dry enough. So now we're going to come along and we are going to take our jet exhaust and our ejection seat off of the backing paper. Now unfortunately this is cut through, so it's quite difficult to get off because the backing paper is still part of the mask. So I'm going to have to try and get this off of here. I'm sure this is a one-off. So I pick this up and get this off its backing paper, just like so, and then we can place this into the nest. And I'm going to see if I can do this with a magnifier and you can see what I'm doing as well. Let's see if this works. So you can see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. If I move the magnifier over a bit, it should be even better. So the ejection seat is just falling on my wing. I don't know where that's come from. So this is jet exhaust. So this is going to go into here. Okay, I need to push it into the corners. Make sure it's gone in the right place. And then move it around before you push it down, and you should be able to shift it about. There we go. Now I may have made some marks in the white paint there because I haven't left it long enough to dry, but that's our jet exhaust there. Right, so again, piece of paper, give it a good rub, and then here, this is just fallen from somewhere, I don't know where, but this says ejection seat, so this one's going to be our ejection seat one. So we'll take this off of here and we can put this up into our wing. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. If you can't, I'm sorry, I'll have edited it out so you won't even know. But get that to go in there. Come on, boat in, go on, go in. Right. And that's gone in there, lovely. Right. So grab our piece of paper, give it a rub. So now what we need to do is spray the same colour grey as we've got here, because that's basically, we're double masking. But if I go and spray the same colour grey now, I will get the danger around the outside and a triangular film around the outside of that triangle in grey. So what I've got here is some pieces of masking tape, which I have cut to fit into here. So they are going to cover both the danger wording and the seam line. Okay, it's going to be very, very close, but we will get there. Okay, as you can see, this masking tape gets used time and time again, and that is what you should be doing rather than just wasting it, because as we all know, masking tape is becoming relatively expensive. Looks like there's something in there. Let's have a look through my... Yeah, there's a piece of stray tape or something in there. I think that's got it. Yeah. Right. And then we'll carry on doing this on the other one. Mask off the danger and the edge, which on this one is a lot easier said than done because the lettering comes right out to the edge of the triangle. Yeah, we don't want to cover any of the lettering at all. Get under this one, get that one across the top, which is the easiest one. Just like so, like that. There we are. Again, I'm going to get my piece of paper and just rub and rub and rub. Make sure everything's gone down. And then I have I have in my airbrush, I have LP27, which is what this colour here is. And as you can see, I've also set this one up here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what happens if you don't do all the angles, right? Watch this. Okay, so that's that one done. This one I'm going to do properly. So I'm going to come in on all the angles, come in straight, go down, go to the side, go to the side, and let the paint build up. building up our lettering as we go, making sure we go all the way across. Okay, and this one we just go straight at it. You watch that, but just by luck this one will come out bloody perfect. I know that from previous experience that doesn't work very well. So we can take these off here. Okay, that's all come away nicely, that's good, makes it nice and quick for the video. There we go, and then we can lift off our outer mask. Again, removing it very slowly. Okay, there we go. That's off like that, so that's nice. And then this one here, now you can see why we put the tape under the corners. It makes it so easy to lift off because it is very sticky tape. And here we're going to come in and lift that triangle out, and we should have in there, we should have written jet exhaust. And there's so much writing there, it's just letting the mask is just falling apart. There we go. I've got something stuck in there. I've got the centre stuck in the A. Just get under that, lift it up. Again, it's falling apart once again. And we have, I'm going to get under my magnifier. Get off, please. I can't stand these bits of tape. They stick to your fingers and they will not let go. Go away. Right, so I'm going to get under my magnifier again. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, and I'm just going to pick up that centre of that O. Just like so. If you enjoy fiddly work, you'll love these things. If you're into 700th ships with all the aftermarket you can get thrown at them, you would love this. And there we go. There we are, and you can see on there we have all the stenciling, all lovely, all the letters really clear, just like it is with that one. Very nice indeed. Let's have a look at this one. I think we will find that this one will not be very nice at all. This is one of the hurricane masks, this one. Coming from that corner, lift it up nice and slow. And as you can see, I don't know if you can pick it up, if you look at this one, look how sharp all the lettering is, all the edges, all the corners and everything, it's all very sharp. Look at this one, it's a bit kind of not so nice. However, if you wanted that sort of finish like it has just been quickly done, fill your boots. So there we are, guys, that has been part 4 of this hours and hours long video session that I've been doing. This has taken me hours and hours to do, so thank you for your time, thank you for your kind comments, and please, if you want to know anything else, ask in the comments below. What I will try and do, if I really have to, is put together one video that covers all the points you raise. If you ask questions that I've already shown in another video, I'll just refer you to that, because I'm not going to go repeating D and B and all that again. And I don't intend to repeat anything I've already done. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed that. Just have a look at that once again, just to see how absolutely gorgeous they are. And so much better than decals, whatever you want to call them. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now. Even to the Aussies.